Hi, welcome back to the Minnesota Conservation Funding Guide. In this video module, we'll learn how to select the practices that you want to learn about. If you're not sure what the Conservation Funding Guide is or how to access it, see the previous video for a short introduction. We are now on the Welcome page of the Conservation Funding Guide. To use the guide starting from the Welcome page, simply click on the underlined link that reads Search Practice and Payment Information. This brings you to a selection page. This page in the Conservation Funding Guide lets you decide which practices to learn about each time you use the tool. The tool currently has information on more than 55 different soil, water, and habitat conservation practices. Many people find this a bit overwhelming and aren't sure where to begin. This page is for people who want to see a customized list of practices rather than all of the practices in the tool. If you would rather see all of the practices in the tool, you can skip this page altogether and click on All Practices in the upper right corner. But right now, we'll stay on this page to learn about selecting practices. The way it works is you can choose any of the 4 selection options on the page. The first option is to get a list of practices that address a specific environmental concern, such as fish and wildlife habitat, water quality, soil erosion, and so forth. As soon as you select a specific concern, a list of conservation practices corresponding to your selection will appear. For example, if you choose flood mitigation, you'll get a list of practices that can help mitigate floods. If you choose wetlands, you'll get a list of conservation practices related to wetland restoration. You can return to make a different selection anytime. Just click on Select Practices in the upper right corner. The second option for selecting practices is by land use. You can choose a certain area of the farm, such as woodlands, buffers, cropland, or a certain type or category of farmland. The third option for selecting practices is to choose one of 3 different technical categories: management practices, vegetative, or structural practices. This selection option is intended mostly for conservation professionals who are familiar with these technical terms. The fourth option for selecting practices is by conservation program. This option, too, is probably more useful to conservation professionals than to landowners. Conservation professionals and policymakers, for example, might want to see a list of every practice funded by a certain program, such as the CRP continuous sign-up. As a landowner, though, you're probably more interested in learning about a whole range of financial assistance options for the practice or set of practices you're considering, instead of learning about a specific program. In fact, one of the purposes of the Conservation Funding Guide is to help landowners focus on the practices that might be suitable for your farm, not necessarily to become experts on one or another conservation program. So that's exactly what we'll learn about in the next segment of this video: getting conservation practice and payment information.